What's up, Slingshot Audio Garage? My name is Johnathan Taylor, and with me is my co-host Paula with
Hi.
SoFlo Slingshots, and then we got Ted, our technical guru, he's in the background, so he doesn't hang out with us anymore. So I got Paula. She's better to talk to anyway. So this is In the Lab podcast number 23, and we've got Galeforce Audio with us, which we'll bring him on here in a second. But so Paula, how have you been? How you been this week so far?
Great. Awesome weekend up until our loss yesterday. Copa America, Colombia lost.
Oh yeah, that's right. And football.
Yes.
Football. Yeah. We call it soccer, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, because we're on the group chat, and you're like, I can't talk, guys. We're blah 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 is playing. I'm like, oh wow, it's serious. Like,
yeah,
we get no love. It's game time.
I'm sorry.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, we're going to bring on right now Alan Palmer with Galeforce Audio, and we'll talk with him and see what we can learn about him and his company. How's it going, Alan?
Hey, guys. Not too bad. How are you guys?
Man, good. Man, we really appreciate you coming on with us and, giving us some information, enlightening us about you and your product. And so I'll start off with my basic question. I start off with everybody that we bring on, which is, bring us back as far as you want to bring us back to, your beginning in car audio, audio in general. What sparked it in you, and what drives you to do what you do and brought you to where you're at today. Let's bring it back.
Yeah. High school, buddies having systems, and I never do anything basic. So I kind of started as soon as I had a vehicle. I got to it. My second vehicle at 18, 19 was when I started, I walled it off. I had 415s. I had, an AK back then with 800 pounds of batteries, so on and so forth. Went down the rabbit hole.
Yep.
And I got out of it for a little while, was doing some other stuff, and then it was probably 8 years ago. I just wanted to get back into it. I wanted a system again, so I got a sub amp from a local buddy that owned an audio brand, and like a month later, he hits me up and says, "Hey, my lead guy just left. Will you come work here?" And so I went and I ran Crescendo Audio for a little while. Worked with them, and I was there for a year and a half, 2 years, however long that was. Left there, worked at a couple audio shops, and in the interim was working on, prototype speakers with a buddy of mine, and started off as he wanted speakers for his boat. And, again, I can't do anything basic. So we spent a year and a half, 2 years going back and forth with a factory to get exactly what we wanted. And all of a sudden, here we are.
Yeah.
And it's that was a year and a half, 2 years ago, I guess, is where we're at now, is when we got our first production run here, and it's been a wild run ever since.
Yeah, and I know you could definitely attest to the changes from, like you said, your beginning systems, doing a wall and hundreds of pounds of batteries in the back. Like, I think anybody, I'm pushing 50, so like I know, like I've had the 415s and the 6 batteries in the trunk, and just
Yep.
it's just ridiculous, before the technology
Escalates
today.
very quickly.
Yeah, yeah. And you realize, even back then, you're like, man, I need more batteries. Then you put 2, and you put 3, and you put 5, and then 6. You're like, it's getting better. Like it's getting better and better. The more voltage I have, it's so silly,
Yeah.
that the way that changes. And of course, when you're a kid, it's like I need more bass. And then as you transition into adulthood, you're like, I want to hear the words more because all that treble and bass is kind of garbage.
Get a nice balance. Yep.
Yep, exactly. And it's funny that I don't think until your mid-20s you realize that word balance is it means something. You're like,
It does. Yep.
it's not loudness isn't treble. There's balance, or there's certain words that people use, like like clarity doesn't mean treble, and that's
Yeah.
is thrown around. People say, I think it's clear. I'm like, is it, or does it just have a shitload of tweeters?
Yeah.
Like there's a huge
There's
difference.
bright and there's clarity. Yep.
Yeah. That's a whole different thing.
It's a can of worms. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you do and so you're basically you're primarily is going to be in the bagger world right now, right? So like a lot of the baggers and a lot of the, I've seen a few slingshots also, but
yep, we've got a few really solid slingshots out there. I'm terrible with names, but I know there's a green one that goes by Slime. He's got a bunch of the F3s, and he's hit a couple of the bike rallies, Myrtle Beach, Daytona, and I mean you know exactly when he's riding by. I know we've got at least 3 or 4 that are solid big sling builds. Not sure as far as a bunch of competition guys, but we're working on fixing that too. With Jack from Underground being local, we've been talking about trying to.
Jack.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely working on putting together something. I don't know if it's going to be like a full competition build because we've got so much stuff in the works that. What better way to introduce it than by putting prototypes and some of the best slings out there and really showing what they can do.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, there's I know that everybody likes their own taste in music, and it's not always about competition, and it's not always about that. I tell people all day, don't do it, don't compete. Build it for you, and you'll always be happy. Like when you pull up, you had a badass system. When you leave, you had a badass system. Don't get wrapped up in the whole, competition aspect of it, because then you get, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with it. I've been down the rabbit hole. I'm probably still, want to be there, but it's, you can still have a badass system without spending that kind of competition money. And I think people get so wrapped up in that. I want to compete. I'm like, man, you sound amazing, but maybe not on that stage, but.
Yep.
And I think that's the difference, and then especially when you could bring a speaker to that, you could bring a speaker where you could, pull up with, let's say, not as much power and still have an amazing sound and everything you could possibly want. And then let's say you did want to step in the ring, you might still have a chance, and then if you really upgraded power and all that other stuff, anything's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
definitely.
no, step one being enjoying your own system and building it for you. That's always got to be goal number 1.
Yeah, most definitely.
So Alan, I saw that you moved recently, right?
Yeah. Yep. We're moving into a new warehouse, 4 times the size, and we've got a couple new products on the way. Which I've got a couple of prototypes here that I can kind of show off as we go. But yeah, it was time to get into a bigger warehouse where we can actually store everything with the new stuff, and also have somewhere that I can actually have an office and start working from. Because up until this point, I've still been working a full-time job plus Galeforce, which takes a toll, but. but I think, within the next month or two, we're going to be ready for me to just jump in full time and do nothing but Galeforce and continue to grow and bring out cool new stuff.
I saw that your mom was helping you unload into. I did see that. That was a post.
Yeah, both my parents ended up. They helped a good bit. I'm very blessed to have the people around me that are wonderful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty awesome though. Like it is. It's I think that's what people I don't know. People forget. They see the. I always say, like, it's funny. You work 20 years to become an overnight success. And it's like there's so many people that are involved in that. Not just you weren't an overnight success.
Absolutely.
That was you taking the phone calls at midnight. And your wife's looking at you like, what the hell, and it's like, I promise it's important.
No wife, no girlfriend, no kids. All I have is cats, and they don't mind when I answer the midnight phone calls or I'm talking to factories in China at 2 or 3 in the morning. So I'm lucky in that aspect too at the moment.
Yeah. Well, hey, and you know what? That's a good and bad, because that's a whole drive and determining factor, because you don't have to worry about eggshells. It's like, man, I'm getting this done. That's awesome.
Yeah. I got to go spend a week in Indianapolis for shows. I can just go.
Yeah.
How many cats did you say?
2. I've got Puppy and Petals. Yep. That came from a breakup. My ex moved out, and in the breakup, she took 1 and I kept the other 2. So it was a win for me.
Exactly.
Actually, I believe maybe the green slingshot that you were talking about, his name is White Lotus, and I guess you guys donated some speakers for his build.
Yep, that's another one. Yeah, it was Jack. I stopped by Underground at one point, and he said, "Hey, we've got this slingshot that's coming by. We're doing not." He didn't call it a charity build. I forget what he called it, but basically, we're just trying to give him an upgrade so that he can compete at a higher level. And he told me a bit about the guy, and I was like, hey, I'm fully on board. I love supporting people. I love supporting people that support the industry. And when Jack's telling me, oh, he's out there having a good time at shows all the time, I was like, perfect. Let's do a couple F1s and the F3s, get him a good mix to where he's got competition level sound, but it's nothing crazy, and he can go out and enjoy it. And we jumped on board with that for sure.
Well, he definitely enjoys it. I mean, he jumps on top of his hood and dances on top of his slingshot.
I love it.
Paints his beard green. I mean, he's like a whole character when it comes to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Good job with that. And he definitely goes to a lot of shows. A lot of shows.
That's what it's all about.
And we forgot to tell you that if you have another device and you go to the Slingshot Audio Garage, then you can actually read the comments. It's different whenever reading the comments through StreamYard. So if you had another phone, if you're on Facebook, then you could go to Slingshot Audio Garage and read the comments. So it's that's always one of the things in the green room we try to remind everybody, because not everybody has 3 phones around, but there's always somebody jumping in. Jack made the comment, said, this is the guy that donated the speakers, and so everybody jumps in and starts talking about speakers, and just really the group chat or the chat and the comments turns into just a giant back and forth. You never know what's going to happen, so it's not always about it's not always about like what the topic is or what we're talking about, which makes it funny because it's like a whole separate show on the damn chat, but no, that's good. And that's why I say the whole community part of it is what it's about, man. I mean, I think, if you
absolutely,
if you want to sell stuff to make money, you can I think there's way easier things you could sell and make money. You could sell tables, card tables. I mean, it sounds stupid, but there's
I get
there's more money in it. But something that you have to be educated on, that you really have to be specialized in, that you really have to you know about. That's harder to sell, because there's typically like a niche unit for that or niche customer that you're really trying to target. So, and I think that I can see that the passion there is more involved on a product like that versus selling, chairs, or makeup lights or whatever, like there's way easier ways to sell product, but to sell a speaker and then even to give a speaker away, it is more directed at a community and at a particular, thing that you like, a passion,
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
That's been instrumental in our growth and enjoyment, because this is truly something that I enjoy. I love audio. I've been in it forever, and I love it. Going to shows is, I get to call it work, and it's a business expense. I love it. I get to go and do it, and and hang out with audio people and listen to bikes and listen to slings and listen to cars and all the other stuff that we've had out there. So it dream come true.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what makes it funny. I tell people, what I do, and I, sell speaker boxes for Slingshots or whatever. And they're like, so I get to go to events and just talk about cool shit, just get to talk about things and talk about cool ideas, and you give me money. Like that's an easy
Can't
job,
beat it. Can't beat it.
And it's fun, like I think it really, at the end of the day, it makes it fun, because you're just bullshitting with people, and with Facebook and internet, the world is so much smaller. There's people you never in a million years would have seen or had a conversation with. I mean, if I didn't do baggers, we wouldn't be having a conversation today, like we don't know. Like whenever Ted said, hey man, I'm doing these speakers, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like that sounds cool. And then they said, hey, we're going to have Alan on, we're going to interview him. I'm like, okay, great. And so when I Googled, Galeforce audio, and I'm like, everybody sells your product, so that's super cool, man. Like
we're definitely getting there.
How many distributors do you have, by the way? Because I know you sell them on your
I'm sorry, what?
How many distributors do
what was the question? Oh, distributors? As of right now, we technically only truly have 3 distributors, which is going to be Droppin' Hertz, Big Jeff, and then Wholesale House. So Wholesale House is much newer, and it's, kind of feeling it out and seeing how things go with them. But we definitely try to have competitive pricing available for dealers directly through us, or distributors, and then obviously we do sell retail on the website. But generally, if people contact me or our business page or the business the business chat through the website or anything like that, our first recommendation is always, well, where are you? Because I can direct you to a local dealer. It's not only is it, well, I don't want to say it's easier, because it's easier and better if people just pay us the full retail price. But for the consumer, for the guy that's trying to build a Slingshot or put speakers on his boat or whatever it is that he's trying to do, having a dealer there that they can contact, see the speakers, listen to the speakers, whatever it may be, that's always beneficial to have. So we definitely try to direct people to their local dealers.
Yeah.
So tell us about this new 8-inch prototype that Jack is commenting about. He's saying it's no joke.
Yep. So thus far we've been all basically marine grade coaxials. Our F3 line is what we started with, and that was a high power competition level coaxial. We came out with the F1, which is a fully sealed face, waterproof. No such thing as waterproof, but very weather resistant coaxial. That's our entry level. And then our next guy up is going to be just a paper cone mid range that kind of gets me back into some more of our competition level and car builds and so on and so forth, where it's a shallower Neo motor, it's crazy high power handling, it's an amazing sound, crazy big output, something that's more fun that I appreciate and I get excited about. And yeah, Jack was saying he's very excited about it. We're actually going to be testing it up against some of the speakers that he's got in some of his award-winning builds.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
He just won a bunch of him and Sarah this weekend at a show. With those
sorry, the cats are messing with each other.
Perfect. No, I like the paper cone speakers. I'm a huge fan. I've been running the Bema speakers for a while, and they're not waterproof or water resistant, but
no, they're not.
Rain,
but yeah, the sound characteristics out of a paper cone. There's a reason that the majority of speakers are paper cones. They're the most efficient. They're some of the best sounding, and if you do it right, they're practically impossible to beat in terms of quality output. So we had to jump in on that and take a stab at our version of it, and I think in the 6.5s and 8s, we're going to make a big impact. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to hear them, definitely, because I like my little. I have a featherweight, so I've got the 6, 6.5s, and 110, and
gotcha.
I use the Bema mid bass, and they're good. Like, they're solid. I do spray them with like the 3M something or other to keep them like water resistant, which
coating
definitely changes it's going to change the FS a little bit, but they still perform. I almost think that I coat them so much that they handle more power because they can't move. I don't know. I mean, I might be crazy because I drive the shit out of them, but I drive in the rain.
Yeah,
and they stay soaked and they don't blow. So,
wow, that's the name of the game. As long as you get to keep jamming.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm open to wanting to try something different. I'm always like open to. There's always going to be something better. I'm just haven't found it yet. So it's
Bema's fantastic. I have a lot of respect for Bema. They've got 50 or 60 years now of R&D under their belts, and they make a phenomenal product. I definitely. You'll never catch me saying, "Oh yeah, switch from Bema. Ours is better." Because one, I don't like doing stuff like that. But two, I would say we're very competitive with it, and I've seen it firsthand as to bikes with our speakers, a couple of cars with our speakers up against Bema bikes, up against all sorts of top end brands. We're very competitive, and we win just as many times as any of the other brands. So we're definitely there.
Now I see you have only at least on your website. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I am. You have 6.5 and 8 inch. Are you going to go bigger? Are you?
Yes. First we're going to go smaller. I've got a 25 millimeter bullet tweeter that we're going to start production with these mid ranges, and then we're in that paper cone. We actually have a 10-inch prototype as well that is it's ready for production, and this is also a good time to say I have a business partner, and the two of us, this entire thing is all self-funded, and we both still have full-time day jobs that help fund our passion for audio. So it's a slow process where we're building it as we go. With we started with the F3s. Within a year, we had added the F1s, which 6.5, 6x9s, and 8s in the F1, the entry level. And we'll have the 6.5, the 8, and the 1-inch tweeter by the end of this year. And then we've also got the 10-inch version of the F3 and of the paper cone mid-range. And we've also got a 10 and 12-inch subwoofer that we're really close on. We're trying to retool a new cone for more performance and a shallow mounting style.
Nice.
So there's a ton of stuff. I think we've got another 12. I think it's 12 different SKUs that are tested and either really close to being finalized or already are ready, that we'll be bringing out just as we go, as we have the ability to bring them to market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's what I say it. I say it a lot of times, that I think people really purchase why you do it, not necessarily what you do, because there's a shitload of speakers out there, and there's a bunch of subs, and there's all types of products. But if they see, the company trying to create something and build something that they stand behind, that what it is. You didn't just go to the China catalog and say, I want that one, put my name on it. And I hate to say it, but there's tons of companies that do that. And
too many.
But if you have your hands in the pot and you're picking, do this or do this, I don't want this, I want this, like like I said, you're using your passion to build and create something that's different than what is out there now. I think that's why people buy it. They don't just buy it because you come out with another sub, or and I think that gets lost in a lot of companies' vision. They're like, we need more SKUs because we need to make more profit. I'm like, but that one bad part can destroy your whole company.
It's not worth losing the reputation that we've built over the last couple of years. And also the reputation for customer service and me caring with these other brands and shops that I've worked with. I wouldn't want to give out an inferior product, and when something does go wrong, with Galeforce, you can feel assured that you're going to reach out and I'm going to be here. Which goes a long way, and I've bent over a little too far backwards for some people, but that's that's the way I do things, and that's the way I'll continue to do things, because it's just the right thing to do in my eyes. So
no, absolutely. I think it's always chess, not checkers, man. It's the long game, and people so badly just want to jump on something and say they did this or they did that. And it's like, man, it's so much bigger than that little $6 you made today, or the $1,000 you could make today could cost you 30 grand next month. Just
absolutely.
I see it all the time. I see it in a lot of businesses. A lot of companies. They let their pride get in the way of their money, and I think that's always
really good. I was watching a couple of the reviews on a few of the products, like on YouTube, and I think some on TikTok too. You're like all over the place.
And
they're all really good reviews. So
the crazy part is, when the F1s came out, I reached back out to Carlos Ramirez. Everybody up till that point had been reaching out to us to say, hey, please send speakers to this person, send speakers to this person, or the people themselves reached out to us. TikTok, I know Heath. I don't mess with TikTok, so I have no clue anything about it. But I know that he's done a few things on there and has been very popular.
Just on
they're just customers, or people in the industry that were asked by customers so many times to test them out, or give a review, that they felt like they needed to, and we got together, and obviously I'm happy to work with anybody and help get more info out there. Because it goes a long way, and it's one of those things where generally when people hear what the speakers are capable of, they want to buy them. It's as easy as that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, and that's what I was going to say is the And anytime, whenever, like, one of the first things when I Googled the name, Galeforce, it said, came up with Carlos Ramirez, doing a review. And, and I know people are people, you can't make everybody happy. This is the, internet, it's the world. But,
Yeah.
Carlos carries some weight in what he talks about. Like, he's going to give you an honest opinion with somebody who has a shitload of experience in the community, in the, audio. Like, that's what he does. So it's good. I mean, I think that's what people, it's maybe halfway scary, but at the same time, a good move to say, hey man, check my speakers out, and it's,
absolutely.
you never know how it's going to turn out, but it was a great review. Like, I was like, man, that's awesome. Like that's exactly, I think, how it should be, how you'd want it to be,
Yep. And I know with someone like Carlos specifically, he reaches out with all sorts of questions, and I'm obviously always very happy to answer those, and not just because he's Carlos doing a review. I do that with everyone, but that was one of his main takeaways was, hey, when we have questions about stuff or we need whatever it is that we need, Johnny on the spot, ready to go, and helpful. And when he gets down to it and says, "This is what the speaker sounds like," it was a massive boost, and I'm very thankful to him because, yes, I believe in the speaker. I've heard what it can do. I know where we're at. I know the work that we've put into everything, but audio is a very subjective thing. So everyone has their own desired taste and takeaway, and the route that we went is different than a lot of major brands. We wanted more of the warmth and the mid bass and still having that clarity, but having a true full range body to the music was something that we were focused on. And some of those reviews on the F3s, our competition series, are, oh, you need a ton of power. Well, you don't need a ton of power because the speakers perform the way that they are supposed to at normal rated power. But we knew that we were giving up some efficiency to get all of the mid bass and the warmth and everything else. And because of that, we went wildly overboard on the power handling. And you can send, we've got guys that are reaching out to me and they're like, hey, my 6.5s in the fairing of my bike finally bit the dust. I need recones for them. I was sending 1,000 watts a piece to them, and just parking lot pimping. I'd go and I'd play for a couple hours.
Lotus, the one that I was mentioning earlier, that did the donation. He's on our YouTube page right now. Saying that,
what's up, man?
That he gets a lot of good compliments. He rides in any weather and they have no issues. And he said,
yeah, because he's got F3s in the waterfall, and then he's got F1s. I forget where he's got the F1s, down in the kicks or something. But yeah, I got to hear it just a little bit at Jack's shop at one point, because he was still tweaking and tuning and moving some stuff around. But I got to hear kind of the basics, and it sounded phenomenal. I know he's been out at shows too, and Jack's given me a little feedback and is like, oh, well, I think we gotta work on this, because I mean, you guys know Slingshots, Jack, and he's that perfectionist of, it's capable of this, so it has to be this. I get it.
Tell us a little about the history that you were starting to tell us on our private mode page, that you have with UAS, with Underground Auto.
Yeah, he was one of the very first shops that I worked with back when I got into audio as a kid. Jack and his son Junior were opening up Underground Auto stylings here in Sarasota, and did a couple of little builds and stuff with them. I did some with another couple of friends in the area. They were, at shows all the time, the Spring Break Nationals and all the little shows around us. And yeah, we've known each other for 16 years or so, probably a little bit longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's awesome. It's been a while.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Free, right?
Do what? I'm sorry.
No, that you were saying earlier that he's like down the street from your new shop, or from?
Yeah, well, from everywhere. I mean, he's kind of right in the middle of Sarasota, and I live on the north end of Sarasota. Our new warehouse is on the south end, so I basically pass his shop every single day, a couple of times. So he's right here. We're very close to each other, and we are working on some stuff. I know that he's busy, which I understand entirely, because we have moved. I want to say it's something like 15 to 20,000 pounds of speakers over the last 2 weeks. But we're working on trying to get some like loaded enclosures, the underground, the UAS, waterfalls, armrests, quarter panels. Like he's got all sorts of stuff that we've been test fitting and working on, making sure that we put together good kits. And he's got some really cool stuff for the Slingshot guys specifically in the works that we'll get to be a part of, and definitely looking forward to making that happen.
Yeah, that's the good thing about Jack, is he's definitely I don't know how to say it. I don't want to say anal, but he's meticulous. He's kind of gets a little perfectionist. Like he'll have an opinion on something, and if you're doing audio and something, sometimes you're like, all right, whatever. But I mean, he's kind of right, and you're like, damn it, I don't want to agree with you, but I don't know if it's the delivery sometimes with Jack. You're just like, he's fucking right, but So yeah. But when he comes out with it, it's gonna be nice, and that's why I say, like, hate him or love him, like the shit's gonna be nice, and at the end of the day, you're gonna want to buy it because it's gonna be right, it's gonna be nice, and it's gonna look good. It ain't just gonna be thrown together, and that's I would give him all that credit, like he definitely will take his time to do something and put it together, and I've seen some shit at his shop that he just scrapped, like he just never came out with it because it just wasn't gonna work, and you're like, I think it was kind of cool, but he didn't like it, and that's the way it goes.
He and I are similar in some of those aspects where we've had. I couldn't even tell you the number of prototypes and things that we've tested and everything else that I didn't like, and I could take it as a starting platform and start making changes, but it just, it's better sometimes to just say, hey, that's not going to work. It's not something that, we want to put our name and our logo on. We're going to start from ground zero over here and do this. And yeah, he's very much the same way, where it's going to work. It's going to fit right. It's going to look right. It's going to sound right.
Yeah.
And I, as a manufacturer, I can absolutely appreciate that, making sure that, especially if we're going to be putting our speakers in an enclosure and selling it as a loaded enclosure, even through underground, like having him sell loaded enclosures with our equipment, it's got to be right.
Actually, he just said there's packages coming with Galeforce, priced right and available to everyone. So I guess you guys are like really close to putting something out.
Yeah, well, we've definitely spent some good time on it, and yeah, it should be. Well, I don't want to give dates or anything like that, but yeah, we're definitely working on it, and we've got the speakers, so they're in stock, ready to rock, and it's just a matter of making sure everything's right and done right, and we'll get there.
Will it be for this year, you think?
What was that?
Will it be for this year, you think?
I definitely hope so. You know, I know we're probably going to start with the F1s in loaded enclosures, because that's our entry level. That is what honestly 99% of people are going to want for their slings. You know, I know Lotus has a few of them in there, and generally in the biker world, because the bike world grabbed a hold of us and it won't let go. But in the bagger audio world, 99% of people are building a rider bike. They want a bike that they can ride everywhere, anywhere, at any time, rain or shine. And they want to be able to hear their music when they're going 120 miles an hour down the highway.
Right.
That's, you know, that was honestly pretty much verbatim what I was told. Hey, this is what we want.
Right.
The F1s on 100 to 200 watts, which is, you know, the norm. It's very reasonable power. You can absolutely hear a pair of 6.5s in your fairing going 120 miles an hour down the highway, which was the goal. You know, is it competition level sound where you have this crazy output and everything else? I wouldn't say that was what we went for, because it's, you know, it's a single input speaker. You're not getting the tunability of a woofer and a tweeter together. You're getting a single speaker, and yes, you can fine tune, you can get better sound out of it and everything else, but it's a super flat speaker, which is kind of what you want to have, from 15 hertz to 15,000 hertz.
Mm-hmm.
You really can't ask for any more out of an entry-level speaker at a reasonable price point. And the fact that it's as waterproof as we could make it, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
So that'll be the first thing that we kind of try to bring out with Jack, is some loaded enclosures with the F1s where it's plug and play, which is something that he's working on. He's going to have some killer stuff where it's just easy. The average consumer is going to be able to go, perfect, I've got what I need. This wire goes here, and we're good to go. And they have speakers that they can jam out to while cruising around with no worry about water or anything else.
See, that's perfect for me, because like I'm never gonna be in competition like with my Slingshot. But
you got to be a special person to compete.
I want it to look good and sound good for me. So
yep.
I can't wait for that. And you guys aren't that far, like 3 hours away. So
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm in like the Fort Lauderdale area.
Okay. I got you. Yep. That's close.
So your F3 your F1 is more of a typical type coaxial speaker with just your standard tweeter.
Yep. It's standard. It's a waterproof tweeter, and it's a monster. I've got one of them out here, which they come with a grill. The 6.5, 6x9, and 8 all come with a grill, and they come in a pair. The cone composition is the same as our F3. It's our glass fiber cone. Trying to get light on it. So you can see it's not your average little tweeter. It's a pretty monster tweeter. The sensitivity on these is a combined sensitivity of woofer and tweeter. I want to say we were at like 97.8. So it's 98 dB sensitivity, super efficient. As always happens, I have had people putting 600-700 watts a piece on the 8s and being like, oh man, they handle it, they're crazy. 100-200 watts is all you really need, and you're going to be able to hear them over engine and wind and everything else. But everybody likes to go to town on them. So.
All right, we got some questions for you here in the comments too.
Yeah.
the Game Changer. He's one of the hosts of the Slingshot Sound Spot podcast here on this channel too.
Okay.
He wants to know, where did the name Galeforce come from and who came up with it?
So, oh man, my business partner Ryan and I, we probably went back and forth with 30 or 40 different names, and we were when we started this, as I said, we were trying to get speakers for his boat. That was where the whole thing came from, and we kind of decided, oh hey, like we've got something pretty killer here, and let's try and do this. But it all started with trying to do something for a boat, and I know when obviously we're coming up with names and everything. Galeforce came up as a potential, and we both really liked it, and we kind of threw it out to some of our friends and family, and it came back with really good, like, oh yeah, that's an amazing name. And we decided, before we go with it, let's reach out to some like logo designers and kind of try to see what this concept would look like if we went with it. And I think we paid a guy like $50 on Fiverr to give us a bunch of different logo designs, and the logo that they came up with the black, white, and teal. It's probably my favorite thing, period, of our brand is the logo, and the name obviously is killer. And
perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of came through a bunch of, well, what about this? What about, and we came up with some just horrific names. They were so dumb, but we landed on a good one and stuck with it, and I think we hit it out of the park.
Okay, more questions. This one is from the famous, probably one of our most famous commentators or whatever on our show, on any podcast. His name is Damien, and he goes by Baby Smoke. You'll see when you watch this later, you'll see about 400 Baby Smoke in the building. Anyway, he's from Miami. He's from the SoFlo Slings group, and he just asked how he can get them down here. So in our area, do you have local distributors here, or?
Oh boy. I mean, you can reach out to me directly, and I can either set, if you've got a shop and a business license and whatnot, we can set you up as a dealer directly through us.
He's a
but as far as
for himself, for his slingshot.
Okay, as far as for your sling, reach out to me, because I can, we ship across the country. I send out speakers every day to somewhere, wherever. In the Miami area, Mavericks is technically a dealer of ours. I know they've been crazy busy with show schedule and everything else, because they do the Sound Bullies sound competitions. But I actually talked with Kim today, and I know that they're working on trying to get everything on the website and get some more banners and all that stuff, because we do sponsor the Sound Bullies sound competition. So as of right now, I want to say that they might be our only dealer that's actually done some speakers with us in the Miami area. We've talked with like MSS.
Motorcycle Sound Systems. They're in Miami too.
Yep, and there was someone else down there, but I cannot remember for the life of me. But at the moment, I believe Mavericks is the only one that's actually jumped on board and gotten some, which I think that they've actually already sold through the stuff that they had gotten. So, if you're looking for sooner rather than later, you can reach out to me directly. You can jump on the website. I'm always happy to hook people up and whatever else. But
yeah. What events, what shows are you going to be attending that you know of that are coming up?
Oof. That's a good question, because I love shows. It's my number one thing to do is go to shows. I need to get to some big Slingshot shows. I've only been to I know there was one in Tampa that I went to, and then
That's why
there
I met
was
you.
it probably could have been, yeah, because it was
Yep.
I already forget. It was at the Dallas Bowl.
Yep.
That was at the takeover. That was November last year.
Sounds right. Because there was a fight. There was all sorts of fun stuff that went on. Yeah, that was a good break in to the Slingshot shows there.
Okay. She said Tampa, and I was thinking if it was 2019 Tampa or if it was last year Tampa. So yeah, it was last year.
Yeah,
I was there.
Would have been last year.
I was there. Yep.
Upcoming shows here, I'm really not sure, because honestly, with the new SKUs that we're trying to get here by the end of the year, plus moving into a new warehouse, plus all the other stuff in the last couple of months, the show budget has shrunk. I know October is what we really want to focus on. So Biketoberfest with the baggers, that whole week will be at. I think we've sponsored 4 or 5 shows in Daytona for Biketoberfest. We've sponsored another couple in Myrtle Beach for their fall rally, and there's a show in Arkansas that's more of a car audio show, the Wake the Dead show out there, that I know they just came out with the dates, so I have not checked them against all of our other obligations, but one way or another, we'll definitely have some representation in Arkansas as well at that show. So we're kind of going to be all over the place, but me specifically, if there's shows in Florida that I can, be at reasonably, I would definitely love to show up and be there. And
Miami
then
would be
Miami. I need to get to a show in Miami.
I'll send you a message. But yeah, we're putting together a SS takeover, like kind of what you went to in Tampa. Mm-hmm. Same thing, but down here in Miami, and SoFlo Slings, we're hosting it, and it's November 7th through the 9th. So I'll send you a message.
Okay, yeah. Which that should work out perfectly, because as of right now, I know there's something in November, but it might be Thanksgiving. So I'm all aboard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what happens though when you're when you're running a business and you're trying to get it off the ground, like more off the ground. I don't want to take away what you've done, but you know what I mean. Trying to really. So whenever you could quit your day job and make a living at your passion, that's when you got it off the ground. That's how I look at it.
It's a good feel, definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
So
but at the same time, it's still once you but until then, it's like trying to juggle all those events and where you want to go, because you want to go to every one of them, but
absolutely. Yep.
You got to have somebody take care of the cat, so you can't do that.
Yeah. And the robot litter box only lasts so long.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, a little earlier, you guys were talking about how, Johnathan, you get to, talk fun stuff and go to these shows, and it doesn't feel like work. And then Alan, you were saying, you love going to these shows for the same reason. I think it was Baby Smoke again that made a comment saying, "You guys are making me feel like shit with my basic ass job. You guys got these cool jobs."
Man, I'll tell you. Yes, this aspect of it is wonderful. Going on podcasts and going to shows and talking to people and just doing audio stuff. It's phenomenal. I love it. It pays the business bills. It doesn't pay my bills. I'm still full time. I work at a production facility making custom firearms. Is my day job. And I say day job. I'm there like six in the morning until sometime early afternoon, and then I get to do the fun stuff.
That's fun, though. That sounds like fun. Custom firearms.
Yeah.
For a guy out of Texas, I'm like, hell yeah, let's do a podcast.
Yeah,
about that.
We do some cool stuff. You know, I've seen some things that are just absolutely amazing and are you know, beyond belief cool. And you know, walking over to the retail shop and seeing an M249 sitting on the counter, that's a unique experience. You know, I tell Canadian friends and people over in Europe and whatever else, like, oh yeah, this is what, and it blows people's minds. But it's not my passion. It's great. You know, firearms are a part of life, and you know, I recommend for protection of yourself and your loved ones. It's a good thing to have, in my opinion. But it's not my passion. You know, there's guys there that they've got 50,
I know where you're going. Yeah,
50 plus. You know, they've got to have one of everything.
Passion. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a passion. It's like, if I got like 2 or 3, like I don't, it's like, I don't know when the last time I shot one of them, and it's like it's no big deal. But then you got some guys that are like, man, I got blah blah blah, and they start naming it off, and I got this, and then my other case, I got this. I'm like, bro, I mean, what
they've got a retirement portfolio and a gun cabinet. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And that's cool. You know, I mean, that's your passion.
That's what they love. That's wonderful.
And you could, you know, and at the same time, you can start talking about speakers on your bagger or speakers in your slingshot, and they would look at you like, why would you do that dumb shit? You know, it's just, you know, it's just
constantly
passion. You know, it is. It's like you said. I'm sure you could talk to some of the guys that have, you know, easily $100,000 in firearms, and it's like no big deal. And in audio on slingshots, it's the same way. It's like, oh yeah, dude's probably got about $100,000 in that thing. It's like, what are you talking about? What? That don't even make sense. I'm like, that's nothing. Like, only 100 is nothing. You know?
Yeah.
But in baggers too. I mean, some of those front rims, like the 30-inch front rims, those are not.
Oh, yeah.
So even though they have less space to put, you know, I guess speakers or whatever than we do, they spend a lot of money on their bikes.
Big time. Yeah. I mean, 30s is the norm now. I mean, if you don't have a 30, you know, you're not you don't belong. Nah, I mean it is nice seeing everyone loves and respects each other in the bagger world. And I know the slingshot world is, again, that community thing. But yeah, the financial burden of wheels, anything with wheels, it'll get you, especially when you're throwing speakers and everything else at it. But
one wheel, like that's not the price of both. That's one wheel in front. Just to look, you know, like this.
that actually. It was funny that it was a couple weeks ago. That was like the main topic. Does your rear wheel match your front wheel? 90% of them, no. Why am I going to put another $5,000 into a rear wheel? You don't see that.
Yep.
Goofy stuff. Yeah.
That's fun though. I mean, that's what it's about. Is you know, like I said earlier, you know, the internet and Facebook's made the world so much smaller, where we can all have a conversation about a lot of things that we have in common that we never would have known about, you know, and it makes the world smaller, you know, and, you know, we'll be in Miami, you know, in November, and I'm sure we'll all see each other and take photos, and it'd be like, we never would have had a conversation before if it wasn't for Slingshot, you know. There's no reason why I'd be going to Miami and we'd all be hanging out together if it wasn't for a Slingshot. And if it wasn't for, you know, you making speakers that work in a bagger and a slingshot. And, you know, it is community, whether it's just slingshots or just baggers. There's a lot of crossover with the two. And I know, you know, motorcycle guys aren't really fans of slingshots yet, but a lot of older motorcycle guys go to slingshots. So it all goes hand in hand, whether, you know, we like it or not. And at the end of the day, it's it's all about throwing money at something that is stupid and we shouldn't be throwing money at, but we all do, and we all like what we see.
Yep.
You know, and we all have
Absolutely.
a cool conversation
Yeah.
around all this disposable
Gotta
income.
have a hobby, gotta have something you love, and something to spend your your time and effort. And I mean, it's why we work.
Yeah,
Gotta have some fun with it.
most definitely. And so you said the best way to tell everybody the best way to get a hold of you to pick up your products.
I mean, you can reach out to me directly on Facebook, Instagram. I give out my phone number. I mean, I'm very easily contactable. The business page, Galeforce Audio on Facebook, Galeforce Audio on Instagram. It's Gale_Force_audio. I had to fight for that one. So, but pretty much anything, you can go to galeforceaudio.com and the contact us page there. I answer all of them, and I answer them. I won't say 24/7, but it's close. Yeah, Lotus. I have, I think, 3 friend requests, 2 missed calls, 3 texts, and 7 messages. So I'll get back to everyone tonight before I go to bed. It's also already 2 hours after my bedtime. But I'll get back to everybody because that's how I do things. And and yeah, I mean, I'm always available to just chat audio, to help out with speakers, help with crossovers, amplifiers, power, troubleshooting. I've fixed people's problems that have absolutely nothing to do with me, because I have been in audio a long time, and I do, I have a deep love for it, and I just like to help people jam.
That's awesome. And you have a great reputation. You have another customer of yours saying that you really go, Lindsay Evans says he really goes the extra mile to treat his customers top notch. So that's awesome.
I was talking with Lindsay earlier today, so I know he's got some in his sling too.
Yep. No, you're right. It definitely it's when you're helping customers, it's not always about what you sell or what you sold them. Sometimes it evolves into something else. Like maybe it's an amp question or a power question, or maybe they just want a different opinion because they got somebody telling them something, and they just want to affirm that's what is right. And I think that goes a long way, especially when you didn't sell them a battery, or you didn't sell them an amp, or you're not you have nothing to do with that, but you helped them with that question anyway. That goes a long way, because it's like reviews. It's they'll share the bad review 100 times, but the good review only 6 people will learn about. But those 6 people might make your month. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. And that's definitely something. Seeing the reviews pop up on our website or on Facebook or whatever else, it's a really cool feeling, because some of them are coming from people that I have no clue who they are. I've never met them. But we, either sold them speakers or had an interaction at a show that I just, blank out on, or whatever it may be. And just the day to day, we, can impress people to the point of wanting to leave a positive review and continue to work with us. So it's definitely a killer good feeling.
Yep, most definitely. Man, we really appreciate you coming on with us, and definitely keep doing what you're doing, and spreading the good vibes in the community, man. That's what it's about, and standing behind your product and really putting good product out there, man. That's I think that's ultimately the thing, not rushing to just publish something because you can. I like that, people. I had somebody tell me, like, well, there's only a couple of products on his website. I'm like, yeah, but that tells me a lot. I mean, there's only 4 on my website, but because these are 4 things I know work, and you can stand behind that shit 100%. And you don't want to just muddy the waters up with something that, I don't know, I could make an extra $50. That's not the way to do it, man. I really respect the hell out of doing it the way you're doing it, because I know it works. So, but
I definitely appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man. Definitely. We appreciate you coming on. And I know if I don't see you at a show before Miami, hopefully we'll see you then, because that'll be definitely in your backyard.
Yeah, it's right down the road. So maybe I'll steal one of Jack's slingshots and ride that down.
That's it. That's exactly how you do it.
Well,
exactly
he's
how
saying
you
that
do it.
he's not going to go to SEMA to come to Miami, but I think the dates are not exactly, overlapping too much. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
I'm not going to SEMA, so I'll be in Miami regardless.
Nice.
Yay. Okay, good.
Well, we'll
I'll
see you
message
then.
you sometime tomorrow about that.
Perfect. I'll look forward to it. And, obviously, if there's ever anything I can do to help you guys or anyone else in the sling community, you just reach out.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, man. We appreciate you coming on, Alan. Thanks a lot.
Definitely. You guys have a good one.
All right. Yes, sir.
Bye, Alan.
Well, perfect,
Nice
Paula.
guy.
Man. You
Nice
did
guy.
a good job, Paula.
I was so nervous. I'll tell everyone in the comments right now, guys. I was looking and I was begging for a replacement for today because I was nervous. Because you guys that know me in the SoFlo Slings, I don't know too much about audio. But
that's why I took a seat. I took a seat back, and you were handling it. I had Rob texting me saying, "Man, JT, Paula's killing you." I'm like, "It's by design. I'm trying to make Paula look good. She's the audio guru now."
Oh yeah.
She can be the guru. What what shows we got or episodes we got coming up, Paula? I can't read the screen. I gotta blow it up.
Next Monday we have Brad from 12 Volts on the 22nd. And then July 29th, we have, and I remember, Scott motherfucking Owens.
Scott motherfucking Owens. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you said next Monday was Brad?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. We know Brad. Hopefully he can come on because he's always working. Like anytime you call Brad, he's going to be at the shop. So it's like, man, do you go home? And I asked Shelly, and Shelly's like, I don't know, he's probably at work. So like she already knows he's going to be working. So they're great. So
a couple reminders, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. And so we got in trouble a little bit. Ted said we weren't going into the comments enough. So I guess we're gonna have a whole podcast just for comments.
I saw that.
Like that might be a good idea. Let's get all the Slingshot Audio Garage admins on a podcast, and we're just gonna talk to the people. I think we're gonna have to do that one of these.
But I'm gonna tell Rachel, who is Baby Smoke's fiance, I'm gonna tell her to tie his hands together so that way he can't just
go crazy on Baby Smoke. Yeah, I think if we delete all his, there's only about 7 comments. There might be a few more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to do a whole live just so we could talk to the people, because the people love talking in the comments. So I think that's probably a good idea.
I like that. That's a fun
just to give the chat some love and just chit chat back and forth and just, I don't know, a community roundtable podcast. I don't know. Let's throw one in there, Ted. You're listening. Let's create something. So
yeah, I like.
All right. Well, I tell you what. Then I guess we'll go. Everybody's pretty much gone. They're ready to go to bed. So
yes.
All right. Well, it's good talking to everybody, and we'll see you next week. And be sure to tune in to the Slingshot Sound Spot. I think do they have one next Sunday coming up? I do not know. If they do, tune in, because that's they're up and coming, trying to take our #1 spot. So,
and also follow us on Slingshot Audio Garage YouTube page. So the people that are left on here now, please go subscribe to YouTube.
Like and subscribe, but we're not gonna comment on your chat no more. That's we're gonna have to trade off. We got to come up with a contest, so whoever can get the most like and subscribes, we can give them a gift card or something. I don't know. We got to come up with something catchy. And then are we going to renew our Who Did It Better pose off for?
We have to, yes.
For Memphis Madness, we got to start hyping that up. It's coming up quick, so
it is.
Yeah, we're going to promote their charity, and we're going to get the pose offs ready. So I'm going to start making some posts. So hopefully we can get other people that are coming to Memphis in on it. Do a couple of their pose off post, and maybe we can give them a bucket and they can see how many donations they can raise.
Rachel, I see you in the comments. You heard that? We got to start raising money.
That's right. See if y'all can.
This Saturday we have a big ride, actually by Baby Smoke. So we got to make sure we take some pictures.
Yeah. See,
Johnathan,
I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about that. The whole picture y'all do when you stand on the slingshot, and there's like the sunset in the background. It's like, okay,
that's her. That's Rachel. Yeah.
Okay. I've seen that. I thought I saw a couple of different people doing it, but I'm gonna steal that.
One of them is Rachel on the orange and blue slingshot, and then the other one is Ingrid on the lime green slingshot.
Okay.
A couple months back. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull that off. You just wait. I'm gonna do it too.
Copy? Come on, be original. Do something else.
I'm copying that shit. I'm copying it. No. All right. Well, it was good talking to you then, and I will talk to you guys later. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks a lot. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.